Greetings and salutations. I am John Bommarito, host of Acoustic Alternatives, your weekly Sunday morning wake-up playlist. Well, you can play it whenever you like, really. Replay songs you love and skip songs you don't. I'm just honored that you chose to check it out and follow along. I do my best to pick out excellent songs to get your Sunday morning started out right, but again, you can pick any day. Instead of easing you in this time, I'm going to inspire you with my favorite new song. There isn't a video for it yet, not an official one anyway, so I made my own. Just released is the long-awaited debut album from the Sweetwater Warblers called The Dreams That Hold This Child. Rachel Davis, Matt Earlywine, and Lindsay Lou have collaborated on this album, and it's mighty fine. No matter what your spiritual beliefs may be, this song will get you moving and lift your spirits. Hallelujah is my favorite track on this new record. Up next is for the people of my home state of Michigan, in Midland, Edenville, and Sanford, who were evacuated, and the people downriver as far as Saginaw, who prepared for the worst when dams broke in that area. I wish I could have held back the river for you, so I give you Hold Back the River from James Bay in an acoustic form. Not every singer-songwriter can turn a song into a holiday, but somehow a song written about what time it was when he was longing for someone turned into a celebration of one of his best songs on May 19th. 519 from Matt Wirtz. Matt, you are a smart man. People have been asking me what I've been doing to keep busy since I was temporarily removed from my radio job while things calmed down a bit. Well, one of the answers is I've been going through my far too large music collection and selling things online. Now, I've been slowly selling things online for many, many years, but I don't ever recall selling a record back to the person who made it. I had a promotional-only Will and the Bushman album in my collection since my days as a record store manager, and Will Kimbrough, the Will of Will and the Bushman, bought it for me a couple of weeks ago. I got in contact with him and we started having a conversation. He's working on a book, and during this email conversation about it, it sounds like he has some really fascinating stories to tell from his early days as a rock and roller to touring with Emmylou Harris as her guitar player, which he still does. Colin Hay is still best known for his time as leader of Men at Work, but he's back with a new song as a solo artist, and I have nothing but respect for this man. He's still great at what he does, and I look forward to the full album and the tour, which was supposed to be in my area about a month ago. Watching the video, you'd think he'd be able to afford jeans without rips in them. Still, it's nice to see his wife in the video, too. The Alternate Roots have a knack for writing great songs. It seems they've only gotten better. I bet If I Ever, their new song, captures how many are feeling about the isolation that has been created with this global pandemic. Eric and Tim from this band are great guys, and I look forward to more from them. Stepping back a few years for one of their best, Alternate Roots also have a song called Nothing More. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. It's such a great lyric, and I've seen it covered recently in an online concert by Liz Longley, who makes an appearance later in this playlist. A viewer who has been enjoying the show reminded me of this awesome song from Sarah Bareilles from The Waitress, She Used to Be Mine. How in the world 5.2 thousand viewers disliked this video or song, I will never know. This is a great freaking song. One of my friends from the local music scene who should be enjoying the best years of her music career after being recognized by the streaming service Tidal and signing to their Unplugged roster, Olivia Dear, found a cool new sound for this new song called Better. I hope she does one for a song called Halfway, one of her other new songs, which I absolutely adore as well. Next, it was someone I met when she lived in Michigan, Jetty Ray, and her occasional collaborator, Heath McNeese. They started collaborating online, hence pen pals. They have a new EP called Let's Pretend, and I think it may be my favorite thing either of them has done. This is just one of 7 songs on it called Tethered. Their voices blend so nicely throughout this record. Check it out when you get a chance. Bare Naked Ladies just announced the postponement of their summer tour until next year. That gives them several months to mend fences with Stephen Page. Without him, they are still good, but when he was in the band, they were great. Hard to beat, actually. Last year I saw BNL without Stephen and Stephen without BNL. His show was hands down better than theirs. They try and sing the songs that he sang lead on, and it just doesn't work. So it's nice to hear Stephen Page doing a BNL classic from their debut, Brian Wilson. Imogene Heap is one of the cool, true innovators of the last couple of decades, and this is an older one from Imogene called Good Night and Go from her second album. She proves on this performance that she doesn't need the studio to shine, but she does do some really cool things in that studio. It makes me wonder what's next for her. I mean, how exactly do you follow up Magical Gloves? Yep, Magical Gloves. Look it up. I didn't write the next song, so I don't know if I'm nailing it or not, but this song to me is about being so connected with another person that even if 100 miles or more separate them, one knows what the other is feeling, if they're hurting or struggling. That soulmate thing. You've heard about it. Liz captures it on this song, When You've Got Trouble. She's doing regular performances for various organizations every week, and do yourself a favor and catch one. Become a Lizard. Look that up too. It's kind of funny. It's a shirt built around her fans called Lizards. Liz knows how to capture my heart with her lyrics, and so does Gary Lightbody of Snow Patrol. Can you imagine if Liz and Gary wrote something together? They'd have to consult me for stories, I think. Or not. They'd probably just nail it. If I could write songs, I wish they could be as good as this one, called Heal Me from Snow Patrol's last album. Something very familiar follows from Brandi Carlile, her best-known track, probably anyway. It gets me every time, The Story. I watched one of her online concerts available to her members of the Bramley, which is a paid fan subscription. It was so good. Unfortunately, I missed the second one, but check out the Bramley and see Brandi performing from her compound at home. It's really cool stuff. Next up, well, first of all, I didn't know Queen Latifah had her own show. Second, how in the world did she decide to invite Ben Folds to perform on it? New respect for the Queen. It's wedding season, and I should be DJing weddings, so this one should be played at them all, forever. The Luckiest. Great song. This week, I was given quite an honor. May Earlywine was doing an ARC Family Room show, and reached out to me that day and said, "Could you record an intro, just like you were bringing me out on stage at the ARC?" Hell yes, I can. I did, and unfortunately there were some connection problems when it started her show, but she was sweet enough to play it from her phone so people could enjoy it. This is one of my faves of all time, and she did it during the show, which you can find on the ARC's Facebook page. Check it out when you get a chance. I was talking to my friend Bill this week. We love to talk music and somehow got on the subject of The Alarm. I don't even remember how anymore, but it's a band that in both of our opinions could have been as big as U2. I argue, actually, that their first two albums are way better than U2's first albums. Of course, The Alarm never had a Joshua Tree-like success, but their second album, Strength, is as good as any U2 record ever released, and I love U2. Another wedding season one. Ah, True Love. Walk Forever by My Side. Mike Peters writing a gem there. Apparently I'm in a sappy mood this week, as this one came to my head as well. We Belong from Lowen and Navarro, the original song that Pat Benatar had a huge hit with. You know her version better, but this feels more like a love song in its original form. I hear your voice inside me, and I see your face everywhere. We belong to each other. Indeed. More music from the Michigan scene. I've got a nice cover performed by Lily McPhee planned for June, but her most recent release, Notes, is another great piece of work. Lily is a super positive person, and I recommend following her and watching this young talent continue to develop. She tells me she has a show planned online soon. This one called Where You Are gets me in the heart, just like every good piece of music should. Oh sure, Paul Young's version of Every Time You Go Away is the one you know, but Hall & Oates recorded Daryl's composition back in 1980. 5 years later, it was all over the radio by Paul Young. I always thought Weird Al missed an opportunity. He's done plenty of food parodies, from My Bologna to Eat It to Spam, but every time you go away, you take a piece of meat with you. That thing could have written itself. In all seriousness, this song has a lot of feels. I'm enjoying Matt Nathanson's online shows, and I'm sure he was geeked when Daryl joined him at his Daryl's House restaurant show. It's kind of funny that Daryl forgets their words, and Matt has them handy. I wish the quality of the recording was better, but it's nice to see these two working together on something. Okay, it's Memorial Day weekend, and this one from Seth Gleer, called Plastic Soldiers, is a tearjerker. I'm not sure if those who served will appreciate it or not, but I appreciate you if you served. Thank you for your sacrifices. A few people in my life have served in a branch of the military, and many of them have struggled with their demons afterwards. The sacrifices they made weren't just the time they served. I know Drew served in Iraq. Drew Nelson mentions it in his song Promised Land. I appreciate you so much, Drew, and love this song. And Brian Vander Ark, too. He's got some amusing stories about his time served. This song doesn't reference them, but it is a great example of his songwriting. I think he just came into his prime as a songwriter when he launched his solo career. Verpipe had some gems for sure, but check out his solo material. The lyric, "This mobile home has never been. The last time it moved, I don't know when." Come on. That's just a great lyric. And finally, I have no idea what it was like to serve in a war. My age group was somehow in between a couple of wars, and I wasn't really tasked into going. Fighting isn't in my nature anyway. But this brilliant song from Carbon Leaf, "The War Was in Color," captures what it must have been like. So thank you to Carbon Leaf for writing that great song. And they're working on a new album. They just decided to launch a campaign to fund that. And that's this week's playlist. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm plotting next week's already. I can't give you much of a preview yet, but thank you so much for being interested. Have a great week.